Amigos, bienvenidos a un nuevo programa de El Mundo.
Hello, dear friends, and welcome to our show, El Mundo, the World. And today we'll talk to Dr. Michael Leitman about anti-Semitism in South America. Hello, Dr. Leitman. Hello, everyone, please. Dr. Leitman, anti-Semitism in Latin America, it seems as though it's unseen, as if it does not exist. It's always more important what's going on in the United States or in Europe, and we see that this is a phenomenon that is not foreign to any region of the world. An evangelist priest in Brazil recently asked his community to pray for a second Holocaust. In Argentina, not only that we see a surge in hate toward Jews on the social media, but also TV presenters are openly talking about Jewish conspiracies behind the coronavirus. Can we point at some difference between anti-Semitism in South America and the rest of the world? I don't know. It seems to me that in Latin America, from what I saw, I've been there, I didn't feel it. However, that was many years ago. When were we there? About 15 years ago? No, less, even 5, 7 years ago. Right, true. But it doesn't seem to me that it's as bad as it is in the United States or in Europe, because still, and it's also because South Americans, they can't identify you by your face, are you Jewish or not. They see that you're European, whereas Europeans, they immediately see that you're a Jew. And that's why maybe it's not that felt. But on the other hand, South Americans, they're much more pious. They're believers, and therefore they can be closer to hate toward Jews if it will develop. We have to see this development one way or another as a possibility. You always mentioned that due to your travels to South America, you always said that the Latino Americans are closer to nature instinctively. If so, in relation to this approach, does it somehow influence the way they feel or express anti-Semitism? I don't know. In regard to that, I can't say anything. I had no experience in feeling anti-Semitism from South Americans, or talk to them about it, and I didn't feel it. But for sure, now that we are experiencing states the way that we do today, then it's felt there more. For people that are there, for them, they feel it. It's felt. But were I to go there today, maybe I wouldn't identify it either. Because I don't understand the language, I don't understand people, If I go someplace, then, it's to some interview, I talk to reporters, I talk to my students that live in every country, and I'm accompanied by people that arrange the communication with them, translate. So certainly I don't feel things for what they really are. How can we explain this? Why is it less felt or grasped anti-Semitism there, from your perspective, in Latin America versus the rest of the world? I felt in Latin America a very natural kind of character. People, even though that they believe that they're believers, that they're pious, that they're Catholic, but Christianity doesn't clothe on them that naturally. It's something that was introduced to them a few hundreds of years ago, so it's not that it's something that they've absorbed. They also have different beliefs of their own that are closer to their nature, that are really in their DNA. And so I don't think that anti-Semitism in South America will really be as natural as it is in Europe, or even in the United States. But, nonetheless, and especially that life there is hard, and that people can always say that it's because of the Jews, and therefore it will exist. People that come to Latin America from Israel are always welcome with lots of warmth. How do you see this? I see it as something that comes from the character of the South Americans. This is how they are. I traveled to most of the South American countries, and I saw that they're all very warm, willing to connect, inclined toward friendship. And so, if you too show them a warm heart, you'll get the same in return. It's not cold Europeans or even that resist, doesn't matter who or what. It's something that they don't have. It's not natural for their character. They're open. But we do see that there are more complex relations with the Jewish communities versus the Israelis that come there to those countries. I was not in touch with Jewish communities, or I was barely in any contact with Jewish communities in Latin America. To me, it seems that Latin communities, when I was in South America, from what I saw, they lived in a good, a nice, close connection with the local population. They weren't remote or distanced. So I can't say. It seems to me that the connection between the non-Jewish and Jewish communities in South America is much closer than in North America. But still, we see that there are outbursts of anti-Semitism that are expressed in the social media. And the question is there some kind of relations, of hate-love relations here? I'm sure that there is something, but I didn't witness it, I didn't experience it, but by the nature of things, it has to be. From what I learned from the wisdom of Kabbalah, then I know that there has to be hate from the non-Jews toward Jews, because this is at the basis, at the essence of the world, of nature. On the other hand, in Spain, we also see that there is a rise in anti-Semitism. There were 58 cases of open anti-Semitism, where they prevent different Jewish groups or Israeli groups or companies to be able to work, perform. What do you think this new current will lead to? Also, in relation to Spain, I'd say that it seems to me that it is the least in Europe. That there too, it's the same character, the Spanish character. It is, they're believers, they're pious, they really hold on to their religion. but it's not accompanied with real hate. I didn't feel it. I traveled to Spain several times, and when I talked to people, I saw a pretty good attitude on their part, friendly. The attitude of the Spanish, South Americans, and the Spanish from Spain, their character is very soft. It's something that doesn't come to some kind of evil outburst. And if it does happen, from above everything happens, but it's not that it's rooted in their blood. If anti-Semitism is a fundamental part of man, something hereditary in human nature, if so, why is there such a difference? Does it have to do with a cultural aspect? In the world, there are 70 nations of the world. That's how the world's divided. And every nation is closer or more distant from the people of Israel by nature. And so the closer they are to the nation of Israel, the more they hate it. And the more distant by nature they are from the people of Israel, the less they hate them. And so in relation to Arabs, Europeans, or in relation to, suppose, Russians or Chinese or South Americans, it all depends on the measure of how close or distant you are. According to this interesting dynamic that you're describing, the Spanish-speaking world, is it closer or more distant from Israel? Relatively, they're more distant from Israel, but by character, they're closer. Why? Because they have an inclination toward connection. And therefore, once Israel will start enacting its force toward connection, Israel has a special method in Israel. There's a special force of how to connect everyone. And once they start working with it, then the South Americans, Latin America, they will all start feeling that now they have what to be drawn to. If so, then strengthening the connection between Latin America and Israel, will it serve as an example to the rest of the world? Maybe. I think so. I think that if it all depends on the Israelis here. If Israelis will start discovering the method of connection between people, that it actually has to bring all the good that we will have in all countries and around the world, then I think that South America will respond to this, will be between the first to respond to it. Well, time's flying. We've reached the end of our show. Anti-Semitism in Spain and the Spanish-speaking world in Latin America. I'd say that it all depends on Israel, to the measure to which the people of Israel will acknowledge their destiny to bring the method of connection to the rest of the nations. By that, they will do true good to the entire world. And the South Americans will be the first to respond to this, to connect with us. And then there will be peace and good. Do Israelis have to come closer? And for sure. First of all, Israel have to be the first to disseminate the method of connection among everyone. And I'm sure that by that, Israel will also come closer to the South Americans. And all of us will connect more and more. It will be to the benefit of the entire world. Let's hope that it will happen quickly. Thank you very much, Dr. Leitman. This was really interesting. And till next time, all the best.